Poultry company Sovereign Foods Investments reported diluted headline earnings per share of 0.7 cents for the 6 months ended August 2011 from 2.6 cents a year ago. Revenue rose 610.5 million rand from 43.3 million rand, but operating profit before depreciation and impairments declined to 25.98 million rand from 43.26 million rand. The company attributed the lower earnings to a rise in mortalities as a result of a harsh early winter disease and a 23% drop in non-feed costs per kilogram sold, as well as a once-off charge of 8.4 million rand relating to the stepping down of the CEO.
Sovereign's got a market cap of 353 million, price earnings of 7.8. That's not because they're making a lot of money, it's because the stock price has been under serious pressure. No dividend. Daniel, let's come to you first. Again, I'm going to operating margins every time, but here we've got an operating margin that was 4.1 versus 8.2 versus 10.4. I understand it's tough in the chicken business. I have no problem with that, but they're really showing how tough, and they're really getting that squeeze. And I think the squeeze is probably two sides. Input costs on the one side, and the other side, what they can charge for it.
Yeah, again, coming under a lot of pressure. Not my favorite in the chicken sector. They're actually performing the worst of the lot.
No, by a long way. The other two being Rainbow and Astral.
Correct, yeah. And look, also, again, it comes down to agricultural prices, the maize price, the rand price, soya prices. A lot of those really putting a big damper on the business. Not looking good. They've also just they've just appointed a new CEO, which is actually a temporary CEO. Also, a lot of problems there with the management. It seems like they can't get that right. So you'll have to wait and see what that brings.
Coming to Craig in Cape Town, Daniel not seeming too happy and alluding to some of the risk areas and concerns that he has. But the question that I had is really about the cash on hand, because that's fallen from 55 million rand as of February 2011 to a net overdraft of 50 million rand for the 6 months to August 2011. And my question is, why that big jump? Why do they move from a net cash to an overdraft position? And secondly, what do they do with all that money? Because only 8 million went to CapEx, 8.4 to the new CEO. Where is the rest of that cash?
Yeah, look, it's certainly been cash hungry business. They've had to issue a rights issue too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah, they did 150 million.
As well. So it's the company's gone through quite a lot of drawing on cash, and I'm looking at the financials. It's actually a good question in terms of where it's all gone, but you can see that they've had pressure in terms of maize meal prices, feed. They've lost a lot of poultry, and when you lose that poultry, that's just a lost expense. You've got to just simply get rid of it. So there are all these risks attached with farming chickens. And you know, you mentioned Astral and Rainbow. With Astral, for example, they've got a lot of their own feed production. Country Bird's another one of that can be added to it, and they produce their own feed production. But now with the case of Sovereign, they seem quite reliant on that white maize meal price, and so that also hurt them. And there's been a tremendous amount of imports, so obviously margins have probably been under pressure, although we've seen them up from the previous period. But the general trend is there's chickens coming in from Brazil. With the rand having been so strong, obviously 47% increase in the imports is going to affect your market.
Craig, staying with you in Cape Town, what we say, I mean, Daniel mentioned the CEO suddenly leaving, hasn't been replaced yet. They gave him 8.4 million, and almost in a sense, we mentioned on Bowler Metcalf, where you can see that strong management coming through. And Sovereign, I'm not seeing that strong management. 150 million rights issue. Frankly, I think they needed to do a 300 million rights issue to really get this balance sheet ship-shape.
Yeah, look, it's a company that's over the years, it's not one I watch closely, but I've always compared it with Rainbow, which I did have a stake in at one stage, and I've always seen a lot of inconsistency where, although Rainbow's gone through tough times, you've actually seen management be able to sort of get things right over the last few years, certainly since Remgro got involved. But in this case, they seem very lost, and yeah, it's certainly one that one wouldn't bet on because of management.
They've got higher commodity prices as well as an increase in poultry imports. Now, these are things that are largely outside of their control. As far as the imports are concerned, do you think that there could be a move to lobby government to protect the poultry industry? And then as far as the commodity prices are concerned, are we not concerned about the financialization of food, where it could be speculators that are driving the price of these commodities higher than what it ordinarily would be?
Yeah, look, again, there's no control over the rand and currencies. I got confused with this stock earlier with the rand and bringing in poultry from Brazil and Argentina to South Africa. With the rand where it is, it's now a lot cheaper actually to just actually buy chickens from local producers. So it also gives them power because of the rand where it is to actually increase the prices of chicken. So in the December period over Christmas, I would assume there'll be a lot more demand for their chickens. Balance sheet doesn't look good. And going back to the government issue, I actually read an article that they're actually trying to include local communities to actually get involved and start getting involved with the agris and grain and trying to actually get that going so they actually can work with them and give back to the community like that. So, yeah.
Is it a hot stock then, Daniel?
Not hot for me. If you look at the technicals as well over a period of time, it's just really reflecting the stock. Balance sheet looks terrible. Actually, balance sheet doesn't look so bad after the rights issue. Looking a lot better. But management, top line, not looking great.
Coming to Craig in Cape Town, hot or not, Sovereign Foods?
Yeah, I think those chickens that have been ordered for Christmas are already on their way a year and paid for. So I don't like Sovereign Foods. I don't think it's going to recover in the short term, so not hot.
Simon Brown, are you going to be having chicken for Christmas instead of turkey?
No, I have neither. My wife's a vegetarian.
Oh. How do you feel about the stock, hot or not?
I don't like it. I think if you want chicken, you get Rainbow with their distribution arm, which gives them a bit of a niche, or Astral, who, as Craig said, they do both sides, feed and chicken. Sovereign, not hot.
Not hot. Let's turn things up with a stock pick now. Craig in Cape Town, what is your stock pick for tonight?
At the beginning of September, I mentioned Jubilee Platinum. I'm mentioning it again, although the market's got a lot of opportunities at the moment, but I think most of us are aware of those. But Jubilee is one that tends to fly under the radar. It did have a trading update where it said that revenue would be between 470 and 490% higher, but then on the negative side it says that earnings per share would be 130 to 150% lower. Now when the financials come out and you study that, what you're going to see is a lot of the costs with regard to setting up that smelter actually went through to the income statement because of the nature of the way they account for that. And so if you actually read through that going forward with an increase in revenue and the Conros now technology coming online, I think that the share is tremendously undervalued. My average price is R2 and it's a lot cheaper than that now. So somebody that's looking for a medium to longer term outlook, it's an opportunity.
Thank you, Craig. Stock pick was Jubilee, says it's undervalued. Daniel, what is your stock pick for today?
My stock pick is Amalgamated Appliances. The ticker code is AMA. They're an electronics goods company, and they're growing market share really into Africa as well. They distribute goods to the consumers, electronic goods. They've got products such as George Foreman, Pineware, Russell Hobbs, and products
all those
like
kitchen
kettles,
appliances that we've all got in our kitchens.
They released results a week ago, great results. They've got increased headline earnings per share by 50%. They've got 260 million rand cash at hand. Paid a small dividend, so our company's really looking good. It formed a nice technical base as well. It's starting to tick up. I think people or investors are starting to actually accumulate stock, and I think there's a lot more upside.
And again, a smaller cap, a much degree like Jubilee, so lower liquidity adds that little bit of smidgen of risk. It means it's not so much a speculating stock, it's investing.
Yeah, a little bit more liquidity than Bola Metcalf that we discussed earlier. There is actually a narrower double on the stock, so you actually can get stock quite easily. It trades around R2 and 5 cents where it closed today. There's normally about a 5 cents double, maybe it does trade, so you actually can get stock. Definitely a longer term play. As I said, they're looking to increase into or to move up into Africa and become a market leader of these products.
We spoke about Amalgamated last week,
yes.
Simon. How do you feel about Craig's stock pick, Jubilee?
Jubilee, typically junior miners are not my kettle of fish, although, excuse me, if I'm going to do a junior miner, it will be a platinum guy. But with Jubilee, I really like Conros. I also really like the management. I've had some interaction with them before. They've been, my sense was very open, very frank, really knew what they were doing. So I think if you're looking for a junior miner in the platinum space, of the couple available, Jubilee would definitely be my pick. And as you said, Amalgamated Appliances, touched on it last week. Thought it was hot then, still think it's hot.